Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday, the 27th of November. So looking at the euro-dollar first, and well, we had a decent shove up on the end on Friday. Short term here at the moment, it's barely moving. There's no news out today at all, apart from new home sales later on this afternoon, which will be thrilling, I'm sure. But we may get some comments regarding Black Friday and the weekend sales come through the markets, and that might actually drive things a little bit. So we may get some volatility from that aspect. Also in Germany, it looks like there may be some sort of alliance between the SPD and the other ones. Technically put that, which may see some follow through. It was discussed on the 25th and Saturday, so we haven't seen that effect really into the markets fully yet, so we may see the euro push up a little bit more from that, or perhaps we have seen some of that effect in there. No, that was on Friday, that's fine. Okay, so how do we sit at the moment? Well, we have got the weekly pivot sitting below us at the moment. That leaves the potential for a bit more of a sell-off in this early movement on this move. Now the day, coming back to the dailies, it had a good shove up last week. I mean, there's 3 solid days of, 2 very solid days and a day in between there that were all sort of relatively on the bullish side there. So it'll be interesting to see if we get any sort of retracement and continuation now. That's what I'm really looking at, the way it's moving. As I say, weekly pivot, daily pivots, both sitting below. Daily pivots very close by at the moment, so any early sell back to that. Well, just check the reaction of a break. If we see a break, then I'll hold on and see if we could see if any movement down to that weekly pivot. Okay, I'd be very wary, of course, of any comments made and the coalition sorted in Germany, because that could create some strong upward movement in the euro further. Let's have a look at the pound. Now the pound, well, it's sat there in that bullish engulfing on Friday. It's again got weekly pivots below, which may cause a bit more of a draw. That will still keep it in this upward trend that it's sitting though, even if it comes back to get that weekly pivot. So just under its daily pivot at the moment. Sell off, as I say, to that weekly pivot, and again, maybe looking at the bounce, any bounce off that level if it gets down there. Now, of course, if it breaks this morning, breaks through this, back through the daily pivot in the 60-minute 21, well, maybe we're looking for Friday's highs there. Does look like a bullish influence on these markets. Now, looking at the dollar yen here, well, we just come short of the weekly pivot, and it's already looked like it's having a bit of a reaction here. Put a bit of a pivot swing in there on Friday, which is generally a bit of a bullish move in this particular case, but it is in a real downward trend, so may have a very weak effect. Looking where it's sort of sitting here at the moment, as I say, there is that weekly pivot sitting above us there on the dailies, and the daily pivot we're just sitting below. So it's one of these, if you start breaking through the 21s, maybe we'll get a push back towards that sort of area. Otherwise, if it holds here and we see this sell-off continue that's starting here, maybe it'll push back down towards the last week's lows there maybe. So dollar yen, Aussie dollar. So the Aussie dollar's already back and tested the weekly pivot by the looks of things here, and well, bit of a weekend to the last week, and it's still got a bit of a bull flag potentially going on here. So break of that the trend of the tops of those highs there, maybe see us push up further. Yeah, it's not. It's got a daily pivot above us as well, untouched at the moment, so that's could still be a draw there. Line in the sand, most likely that 50 MA there. So as it breaks that 50, look for those last week's highs. I say last week's highs towards last week's highs is certainly that 500 never got touched last week, so it would be a target for this week. not a lot of massive movement in this Aussie dollar. They don't get drawn in by the fact that it looks a long way. It's only around about 20 pips, 15 pips beyond the daily pivot, so no major moves there. And finally, the Canadian dollar. So Canadian dollar is wilting a little bit last week. It's last 2 days it just sort of steadied itself a little bit, but it does look like it may roll. If it breaks through this daily 34, the 50 would be a next target on that line. It looks bearish from what we're seeing here, although it has got a weekly pivot above, which may get caught early on. But flatlining at the moment, basically, so not the easiest one to read. But as I said, if it does start pushing up, or the weekly pivot becomes an obvious target, you could draw a trend across the lows between Friday's lows there and this morning's lows, and look for the break. Maybe a target back towards its daily S1 and last week's the lows of those bodies there. Okay, so all in all, nothing in the way of significant news from bases. May get some news from Germany if they can agree another grand coalition, which may give some of it, well, certainly the euro a pop up. Have a great one. Bye for now.